Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about more C8 Zora info leaked. And will this be a 1400 horsepower monster? Hello everyone and welcome back to Brink of Speed. Today I am actually super excited to get into this with you guys because we just found out some new info. Actually, my good buddy Clayton over at Supercar Ranch reached out to me and told me about this info and wanted to give me the scoop so that I can get this out to you guys. So real quick, if you're excited about this, give it a big thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and let's get going. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to Supercar Ranch, I will link his YouTube channel down in the description. Also check him out on Instagram as well and give him a follow over there. So he reached out to me today and told me that Doug Demuro on his recent podcast with Cars and Bids addressed the ZR1, and you know, that was great and everything. I watched the whole thing and he addressed the ZR1 and talked about how well these engineers did driving it around Road America, Road Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and VIR. But then after he got done talking about the ZR1, he addressed the Zora. Now, he did not call it the Zora. He didn't call it any name at all. But what he did say is that there's something even more powerful coming out. And he says that you heard it here first. So this is not like Doug at all to mention something that is not true, number one. Number two, I've never heard him do any kind of skepticism on cars out there. Anytime he mentions something about a car, it's already happened or it's going to happen. And we all know that he has some contacts within GM. Obviously, GM drops off, every single model of the Corvette when they're ready for him to do a review of it. And they just dropped off the ZR1. And I'll link both his video on the ZR1 and the video that I'm talking about right now in the description below. But they obviously have a very good working relationship with Doug Demuro. And so for him to come out and talk about a higher version than the ZR1 not only is really cool and something we can probably all bank on, but then for him to say the words that it's going to be more powerful, and he actually gave a horsepower number. His horsepower number is 1400 horsepower. And then he goes on to talk about how it will be a hybrid, it'll have the electric motor up front, and it'll be all-wheel drive, just like, he doesn't say just like the E-Ray, but obviously he's speaking about just like the E-Ray. So this is something that we all knew was probably gonna happen. We knew it was gonna be a hybrid. We were thinking more closer to 1224 horsepower though, because of the fact that you add 1064 and 160 horsepower, and that puts you to 1224. Now, I had heard rumors in the past of over 1300 horsepower, but never 1400 horsepower. So GM has maybe figured out how to really up the power on that front motor. And maybe they're giving it two front motors. So it's 180 horsepower motors up front. That way they equal combined 360 horsepower up front. And then you add 1064 to that. And I think my math is right, telling me that that would be 1424 horsepower. So that would be absolutely insane. But it does make sense that they would put two motors up front to kind of keep up with the crazy 1064 horsepower that's in the rear. When you look at the Tesla Plaid and you look at the Lucid, all of those super, super high horsepower all-wheel drive electric cars have more than one motor up front. They usually have 4 motors total. So this makes good sense. I think that he's probably correct. I'm actually gonna play him saying it very briefly. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but I want you to hear him and see what he says and see what you think.
Here's the thing, they're gonna make another more powerful Corvette. You're hearing it here first, folks. Situation's gonna have 1400 horsepower, okay? I'm telling you all this.
All right, since you've seen that, what do you guys think? I think that we have something here. I think that GM is gonna absolutely blow our minds with this super high horsepower, whether it's called a Zora or not, next variant of the C8. Also, if you can't get excited about GM producing these crazy high horsepower cars, but it is absolutely amazing that they are coming out with these cars, especially the ZR1 doing what it did at all these tracks. And now they're coming out with something that has almost 400 more horsepower than that. Now I know because it's all-wheel drive and it's gonna be a heavier car, it probably won't be able to perform on the track as well as the ZR1, kind of like the difference between the E-Ray and the Z06. The Z06 really put a spanking on the E-Ray at the track just because of how much lighter it is, and it's more of like a, when you compare the two, the Z06 is like a scalpel and the E-Ray is more like a butter knife. But they're both fun to drive on the track. The Zora is definitely gonna be a beast on the track as well, just probably not as good as the ZR1. But on top of that, when Chevrolet said they were putting the world on notice with the Z06, think about these two cars. These two cars have the world frantic and really questioning what they're going to have to do next to be able to keep up. Because we're not even to C9 yet, and this is what we're going to with C8. Can you imagine what we're gonna get in the next generation of Corvette? So anyway, just wanted to put that in there as well because it is exciting, the kind of power that these Corvettes are producing now. Now, I do want to talk about the render that I used as the thumbnail. Number one, it's Vengeance Graphix. Go check him out on Instagram. I should have given him a shout out a couple days ago when I did a video with his render as well, but go check him out on Instagram. I'll link his Instagram in the description below. He does fantastic jobs on his renders, but if you take a look at his render, all right, so if you take a look at this render and you see that he added an extra dive plane up here instead of just down here, he added this fender flare as well, pretty much all the way around the fender. He's pretty correct as far as that goes, except that it doesn't go all the way to here on what we've seen on the builder. But it does have that front fender. He's also added a fender back here, which I really, really like. I think that's a very nice touch, and it makes the car look wider than it currently is. Also, you can kind of tell that the front splitter up here is a little bit larger than the ZR1, which I already said, I think the ZR1 should have had a larger front splitter and larger side rocker like this one than the Z06 or the E-Ray. So I like what he's done. I like that they've put a bigger front splitter, longer side skirts, and the big canard on the rear of the side skirt. And then also he's added this awesome engine scoop. And I think that would be so phenomenal if GM would surprise us with something like this, the ability to buy it. If it costs $10,000, $15,000, I know there's people that'll buy that. It will help ultimately cool that rear engine. But I just kind of wanted to go over that with you very briefly. Tell me what you think of his render. But ladies and gentlemen, that's really gonna do it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about Doug Demuro stating what he stated. Let me know if you agree that he would not be the type that would ever speculate like that in front of his audience and say, hey, you heard it here first. Let me know that down in the comments below. Tell me if you're excited about 1,400 horsepower coming with a Corvette. Also, thank you so much to Supercar Ranch for bringing this to my attention. I really appreciate it, Clayton. You are a great friend. So again, check out his channels and give him a subscribe and a follow. Give it a big thumbs up, smash that subscribe button. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys out on the road.